And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
All right, we're going to try this again because it looks like I was muted and that was not what I was looking for. So anyway, I just wanted to come to you this morning on this little bit different time. It is 6:47 in Idaho. That's mountain time. Some of you are still sleeping, but I wanted to do this special little live stream to kind of talk about what's going on with the podcast, with Shaping Success, something that I started almost a year ago. And I wanted to talk about the top 3 podcasts that we have had on the show and kind of expand on that a little bit because we're going to have some returning guests. We're going to have some great stuff going before the end of the year. I have about 231 more downloads to reach my goal of 3,000, which is not a huge amount of downloads, but it is very successful in my mind and where I wanted to be. So if you are listening to this right now on the live show, please do a watch party. If you are listening to it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please like, share, and follow. Write a review. Help me to grow the show. Help me to make it better. If there's something that you would like to see or guest or anything like that, please point that out to me, DM me, let me know. I'm always willing to look into that. So we have 3 podcasts that I have had on the show that are very important and are very, very big as far as the downloads go with the most. From the beginning, one of the first guests that I had was Big J, and it was when we first started doing the podcast on TVPBN and having the live show and all that. And Big J is from a local radio station here called 100.3 The X, and I have been listening to him for a very, very long time. One of the things that Big J taught me in his interview was that if you really want something, you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to hustle for it. You're going to have to go out there and be willing to do more than everyone else and try and learn from the get-go every little step along the way is, and learn how to do that and become an expert in your field, become a person that they cannot just let go, that they need, that they will find something for you if they had issues where they couldn't keep you anymore. So, for instance, he talked about how at one point in his career, they said, hey, do you have some tapes and things like that? Because we may have to let you go. You may have to have a resume. You may have to do this at the X. And he's been there for a very long time. They've had the morning after show for a long time. He's kind of been the mainstay. There's a couple other people who have been at the X longer than Jay has, but he's always been that guy who is willing to work harder every single day and try to make himself inexcusable. Like, they can't get rid of him. They need him there. And that's part of hard work. That's part of the thing. It's like, make yourself invaluable to everyone else. So Big J's episode has 67 downloads, which is number 3 on my list. The number 2 most downloaded episode is a very recent episode that I just did about 2 weeks ago with Duncan Sorso. He owns this brand called Oh My Apparel. And I really gravitated towards Duncan because his brand, Oh My, means out hustle my yesterday, which basically in my mind means to be better every single day, every single minute, every single chance you get to hustle to be better every day. And that takes a lot of work. It's not an easy thing. It's not easy to be better than you were the day before. But in my mind, in my mentality, it is always trying to be better, always striving to be better, to learn more, to do more every single day. And don't be complacent in the things that you are, that you're doing. Don't accept this is good enough. Always be willing to work harder. Always be willing to put more effort in. Always be willing to improve. And I love that message. It was very inspiring. It kind of pushed me to a couple things and more on what that is. The most downloaded episode of all time was introduced to me by a friend of mine. The guest was introduced to me by a friend of mine, Sonny Bass, Sonny Bass. I need to say her name correctly because I've said it wrong before. But anyway, she introduced me to Mark Simo. And Mark is the CEO of Trust Me Vodka, or one of the founders of Trust Me Vodka. And Trust Me Vodka is this brand that's really cool. It's crazy how this idea became what it is. They basically it's a vodka brand. It's not just a vodka brand, but it's a brand, right? We're all branding. We're trying to create this brand for people to gravitate towards. And Trust Me is one of those brands. my brand for me is Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley. That's my brand. So when you look at the logos and the videos and the things like that, that's the brand that I'm trying to create. I want you to know when you see that logo, you're going to see me. That's what you're going to get. And so anyway, Mark is one of these people who has created quite a few brands, and I'm an 80s baby. I grew up in the 90s. I was in middle school, high school in the 90s. And one of the big mainstays as far as clothing brand went, and I remember there was a whole, at Maurice's in Ontario, Oregon, in the little mall that they had all these No Fear shirts. They had these Bad Boy Club shirts. Those were the big things. And if you had one of those shirts, everyone always wanted to read the back of it. Everyone always wanted to know what it said. So it said No Fear on the front typically, and then the back it had a message. And the message was something about, like having no fear, going out there, taking risks, doing those things. And talking to Mark, who also built a bunch of more brands, Spy Eyewear, Bad Boy Club, No Fear, Life's a Beach. There's tons of them that he's created, and he creates his brand. He's a branding person. He's an idea guy. He talked to me the other day when I met him. I actually met him at a Trust Me event and got to talk to him, and he wanted to come back on the show. And so it's been, 6-7 months, and he wants to come back on and talk a little bit more. And so that was an exciting thing. So this Saturday, I'm going to interview him at 11:30 Mountain Time. 12:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 Pacific. So I'm going to interview him again, but we're going to talk about different stuff. We'll talk about Trust Me a little bit because that's an important part of what's going on right now. But we're going to talk about building a brand, how you do that, how you create your own brand, and what it's going to take to do that. So tune into that. If you haven't, I'm going to post links all over, but it's going to be on tvpbn/SS. I'll check it out. If you follow me on my page, my Wes Tankersley page, is the one with the Superman logo, not the one with me and my family. If you follow me on that page, it'll be live there. It'll be live on tvpbn.com or TVPBN's Facebook page. I'll put all those links in there so that you can find it. But it's going to be another awesome interview with him. And like I said, that's the most downloaded episode that I've had of all time. And he's very inspiring, but we're going to break down creating a brand, what you do to create a brand, how you created the brand, the things that you did, the steps and things like that. That's kind of what I want to talk about with him. One of the things that he talked about with me, though, like he was like, I want people to understand that taking a risk is not as bad as it seems. Most people are afraid to take risks because they don't know. And he never would have got where he was today had he never taken that risk, had he never taken the chance. And we talk about risk, everyone always thinks of it as this big scary thing, but it's not. It isn't. You have to take a risk, whether it's, donating $5 to a charity or investing in something or whatever. You're never going to get ahead unless you're willing to take a little bit of risk. There's always risk involved in it. And he talked about the movie Limitless, which it seems to be a very big thing right now. People are talking about Limitless a lot. But with Limitless, the big thing is that your brain is there. It's expandable, right? Our thoughts and things are expandable. We can make things better, or we can be set in the way that we are, right? And so where does that come from? It used to be told to us that we needed to go get a college education. We needed to go out and do that to get a degree, to be successful and expand our mind. Well, that's not necessarily the case. Not everyone has the means to go to college. Not everyone wants to be in debt and student loans like I did, which was kind of a dumb choice. But not knowing the things that I know, which I'm trying to share with you and try and help you to understand, the fact of the matter is that you do not have to have a degree, a piece of paper, to be successful, right? You need to be able to go out there and push the limits. And you can't see them behind the Jersey series, but there's a bunch of books. I read a lot of books on my iPad as well. I listen to audiobooks, always trying to expand the thought process and the things that you do. You can't do that by just sitting on the sidelines. So you need to be willing to expand, push, take a risk to get that. And that's kind of what Mark and I are going to talk about a little bit, taking those risks. If you listen to the first interview, and if you haven't, I suggest you go back and listen to it, because he talks a lot about like building a brand and who he is and all those things. They took a risk with Life's a Beach, which is what has kind of led to where it is today. There's a bunch of kids who ride their motorcycle. They sold all their gear to pay a seamstress to build shorts to sell, and it was successful. It turned into this really big thing, which in turn turned into No Fear, which in turn turned into Bad Boy Club, to Spy, and now Trust Me. So taking at risk, we always are scared to take a risk, and we need to be willing to put ourselves out there. One of the biggest things that I've learned in the past year is to trust in myself and trust in the things that I know how to do. And I really feel like that's what everyone needs to do, is they need to understand that if you're willing to put the work in, it's going to happen. You have to trust in yourself. You have to be willing to take that risk. So those are some of the things to come. I hope that you tune in on Saturday. Hit me up, DM me, let me know if you want the actual link. I'm going to post this as well. I'll put a link with it so that you can find it easily. And then again, if you listen to it on the podcast, like, share, review, take a screenshot of it, post it on your social media, tag me. I'll tag you back. I'll share that with you. And let's grow this together. Help me to make this better. Help me to help other people be successful, because that's what it's really about. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success. Have a great day.